Hey folks. So I woke up rather early this morning. Probably about, I don't know, 6:30. And there's just this thought that just kept lingering in my head. It wouldn't let me alone, and it was just kind of there while I was lying in bed. And I ended up falling back asleep anyway. But before I fell back asleep, and when I woke back up, the thought that was lingering there and had continued to linger there was that I just need to reorganize the space in my apartment. To allow whatever all the things I want to come into my life to come in. And so I finally got out of bed this morning. And I don't know if you've ever had this feeling where you just you're not really thinking anymore. You're just like it's like your brain suddenly just like turned down, and your whole body just go, do that thing you have to do. It doesn't matter whatever else is going on, just do that thing that you have to do. So that's what happened for me. I just did that thing that I had to do, and I reorganized the space in my apartment. And it took about an hour and a half, maybe. Got a lot of cleaning done in the interim as well. But I was very happy with the way that I arranged the space. It flows a lot better. And what's really frustrating about it is like I'm only going to be in this apartment for maybe like 4 more months before I move. And I feel like this is the best layout it's ever been in. It's like I finally figured out how to maximize the space in this apartment. And it's right before I'm about to leave. But hopefully it'll be worth it. It'll be a great 4 months. It'll be worth the investment of time. So, I don't know. Let's see if that has anything to do with tonight's reading. Knight of Swords. Certainly a card of action, taking action. Definitely me this morning. It's interesting too because Knight of Swords is in Swords energy, which is very mental. And so oftentimes Knight of Swords gets also correlated with communication, right? So it can be communication, but sometimes it can just be like trying to make something actual, trying to, move something from the ideal to the physical, albeit in this mental way, right? Where it's just like sometimes it can be making plans, like deliberating plans with people, executing orders, that kind of stuff. This is a card of haste, big hasty energy. 10 of Wands. So that's Knight of Swords moving to bring long-term plans to an end. Finally, bringing a journey to an end. And usually, 10 of Wands I actually have kind of a difficult time reading a lot of the time because, there are certain aspects to it that are like, putting down a burden or like as you're getting towards the end of something. So like, let's say you go to college, right? Well, like as you get increasingly closer and closer to the end of your college degree, you have more and more stressful work, right? And that's kind of what I think about when I think about 10 of Wands, where it's like you're getting towards the end, but now it's like all these finals, or maybe you're a grad student and it's like you have your dissertation or your defending your thesis, that kind of stuff. It's very much like final boss. That's kind of the. I think that's a great way of putting it. It's just like Ten of Wands is very much final boss. You're at the end, but the question is whether or not you're going to make it through. So Knight of Swords is taking action to like defeat the final boss as our preliminary and start something new. I like to see that. I like to see the Fool in here. So there's a lot of action taking place here in this reading. The Fool is a sign of something has ended and now something new can begin. But it's something new that you're not even sure what it is yet. You're kind of just like, that thing I heard about on YouTube. I want to like kind of look into that and then jump in, right? There might be a new career in PVC pipes. I don't know why PVC pipes, but Wheel of Fortune. So not only is this new beginning kind of a blind leap, but it seems like fate is kind of on our Fool's side. He might be jumping in blindly, but he's got a lot of help from the universe. There's a lot of fortune on his side. There's a lot of elements coming together for him. There are certainly elements in this reading that I can relate with right now. Queen of Wands. So potentially a romantic angle in here, but not necessarily. The Queen of Wands is somebody who is attractive. This is another one of those master manifestors in the tarot deck. The Queen of Wands is also highly intuitive. And will not necessarily explain to you how she knows something. She just knows. It's not just merely a hunch. It's just like she knows when the stars are properly aligned, when everything is coming together. You know, she doesn't argue. She doesn't argue with fate. She doesn't argue with the heavens. So I guess the question I would have for this reading right now is, what is the relationship here between Knight of Swords and Queen of Wands? Are these the same person? Or are they separate entities connected together? Four of Pentacles. So I'm currently looking at this as So Knight of Wands is finding himself in a position where he is taking action to this person, in regards to this person that he's attracted to. It may not necessarily be romance. It may be, attracted to some kind of career opportunity, or friendship, or some kind of just impulse is driving our Knight of Swords to start something new with Queen of Wands. But the Four of Pentacles is a bit advisory here, and suggesting that there might be a certain amount of possessiveness going on. I want to get a clarification there on Four of Pentacles. Hangman. Hangman is a card of looking from an alternate perspective. So there's a stuckness here. Possibly looking at the rest of the reading too. It almost suggest. I mean, the way I look at it right now is it suggests like a karmic bind to a certain degree between these two figures, between the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Swords. Possibly, you know, a twin flame situation. There's some kind of intertwining going on. These two figures, the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Wands, could in fact be the same person looking at themselves from a different perspective. And perhaps the Knight of Swords is holding on too much to his perspective of himself in one of these two ways, and not realizing that he can be both. He can be both the action taker and the mysterious, sort of more passive person. Doesn't have to be one thing all the time. Doesn't always have to be the gung-ho action man all the time. And so there's a suggestion currently, looking at this reading, that single-minded cycle can be brought to an end, and that the elements are aligned in this person's life to allow both of these elements to come together. And alternatively, I could say from a romantic read that there is an opportunity for these two to come together, but big suggestion on, you know, give some consideration to how the two of you intermingle, and also to your own inner, you know, impulses here, right? Are you being too clingy? I'm going to do one more card pull here. Three of Swords. So yeah, that is definitely, I'm looking at that now more as confirmation on the romantic read here. I think I can dial that in. So Knight of Swords. If you're somebody who is a very I would say hasty, sort of aggressive type texter, maybe. You're hyper communicative. I've known people like that. I've been that kind of person. This reading is suggesting that, you know, that way of communicating, that communication style, is about to be either you're making a decision to bring that to an end, or it's going to be brought to an end for you. And there's something, you know, new in the way that you need to communicate. Because there's somebody you're super attracted to, and they're not into that so much. If you hold on to that kind of form of communication, you're going to be severely disappointed. And it would be useful to look at it from another angle. Look at it from somebody else's perspective and consider, you know, maybe texting her at midnight isn't the best idea. Maybe she's trying to go to sleep. Seems like good advice. I don't know. Maybe I don't need to, like, text her every single hour, you know? And that could be reciprocal, too. Like, y'all both have bad habits. I don't know. But I will say, these two cards being on the board is very auspicious. Especially Wheel of Fortune. I mean, like, basically luck is on your side on this thing, even if you've been like a little too much. So now is a good time to take a step back, do some consideration, right? Give it a sec, give it some thought. Tap into your empathic side, right? Tap into this. Tap into your own version of Queen of Wands. And make sure you're not just like, you know, like up your communication game. Because if you hold on to the old strategy, I mean, it's just not going to work out. That's all. I'm going to look at this last card here. Yeah. It's just not going to work out. And this is where you want to be going. Four of Wands. Building a home together. Right? Look at that. Don't you want that? So take some time. Take a step back. Don't be so hasty. It can be easy to feel, it can easily feel like, you know, I don't know. I suffer from this too. I have issues with FOMO all the time. Meet somebody, you worry that you only have so much time, so much time to have this opportunity to get to know them. And, you know, you start to think of your relationship on a timer, on some ticker, right? But heaven is what is determining that ticker. It's not you, it's not the other person, it's the mutual interaction, right? And if the interaction's meant to be, if the relationship is meant to be, it'll be. It might take a while, it might have its ups and downs, but especially if this reading is resonating with you, you have plenty of opportunity here. You don't need to be so hasty about it. And quite frankly, it seems like that your style of communication has been burning you out anyway. So take a new look at it. Try a new style. All right, I think that is the reading tonight of my brand new setup. If this reading resonated with you, feel free to leave a comment, like and subscribe and all that jazz. Fun as always. We will do this again soon, all right? Bye.